All right, the first thing I'm going to say now, this full disclosure from me, this talk is kind of like a therapy for myself, because I'll share probably the most painful thing that has ever happened to me as a CTO. I know people don't like to talk about those things, but I will share it today because I think I learned a few things along the way. And this visualization tells a story. There is a fire, there is money, and there is people. So basically, we managed to burn all of those. And yes, I'll tell you why. And of course, it was my fault. So what I decided, of course, with the CEO together, that we should buy this legacy system. Well, all good. It was just a little bit complex, so there was different components to it, which we didn't know how they work with each other. We had no idea. It was written in a very weird language. It was written in a very weird framework, which none of us understood. And of course, we had no support. I mean, the people who sold it to us, they told us, okay, here you go, bye. I mean, maybe talk to you later. You might think, Boyan, I mean, on Upwork, you can find anybody. It could be the weirdest language ever, but you find somebody to help you with this. So trust me, I tried. I found some people to help us, and they ran away. I said, no, not for me. And of course, the system was not just all of those things. It was also super important. It was critical. So a whole team couldn't work. It was down. So it broke. Actually, that's a spoiler. It broke, of course. And a lot of people couldn't do their day-to-day job, unfortunately. It has financial repercussions for us. We couldn't get paid. Our clients couldn't get paid. And no backups. You don't need to ask me about this. So it was a perfect storm for us. I'll tell you the ending at the end. So first of all, why do we care about decision making? I mean, don't roll your eyes. It's a skill. We do make thousands of decisions every day. What shoes did I pick up today? That's not so important decision, but as an engineering manager, actually, all those decisions actually can add up. Some are more important than others, but if you do many wrong decisions, you have a problem. And something which personally happens to me, sometimes I forget that not making a decision is actually a decision. And it has consequences. I learned it the hard way also here. So especially as a CTO, things cascade down the line. Some examples of black box decisions here is which tech stack to select. I mean, often you have to just jump and see, okay, I don't know everything, but I have to make a decision. Which project to work on, also, it's not clear sometimes, but you have to decide, and who to hire. That's the biggest black box of all. Well, let's define those black boxes. I almost don't want to look at it, black boxes. I'm so traumatized by this. But to me, this is anything which we don't understand under constraints. So under constraints, that's the important part. I'll come to that in a second. Those are legacy systems. Those are complex systems, and those are large teams. I mean, the last example, I think you can also relate, because I think the ideal number is 7 people that you can manage. After this, you have no idea what really they're doing. So those are kind of not nice black boxes. Let's talk about the constraints, though, because philosophically, I mean, if I had 10 years to make a decision about this legacy system, I mean, I would really learn the arcane language. I'll figure out everything, unfortunately, and make the perfect decision. Unfortunately for me, and the reality is that you always have those constraints in order of pain. So knowledge is the first one, obviously, if you don't understand what you're dealing with. Second one is budget. I couldn't throw money at this problem to solve it, even if I had the money to do it. And third is time. Of course, the thing is broken. It has to be fixed. So this makes black boxes dangerous. And now, that was a bit like the not so productive part of the conversation. Now you're going to ask me, okay, Boyan, you gave us the pain, but what actually do we do about this? What are the learnings? And the learnings are actually that we do need to transition to a bit of a different way of thinking. Normally, we are operating as engineers, right? So we tend to be quite rational. We try, at least I hope we try not to be emotional about the work. And actually, that type of thinking doesn't help us with black box systems. What actually we do need to do here is be a Zen monk, and there's nothing religious about it. It's mostly about having the calmness and the emotional intelligence to deal with such systems. And this is something which really tested me. Actually, for me, that was the hardest part, not the scientist part. So by being a Zen monk, I mean, and that's now is going to be unproductive advice, the very first thing you need to do is don't do it. If you see a black system, run away. Like, please, like, just like, I hope you learn from this talk that it's just painful. You're gonna suffer. It's never gonna end well for you. So yeah, I mean, now I could just go off the stage and say that was the talk, so go away. But so of course, that's a bit cheating. Not just go around the obstacle. Let's say, okay, you bought it. Now you have to eat the soup you cook. The first thing you should do is basically wait. And this is a bit tricky. I hope my team doesn't hate me for what I'm going to say here. But sometimes when those systems break down, me by not doing anything, people kind of figure out what to do with it. You know, people actually realize, we don't need to use a CRM. We could just send emails. I'm like, okay, cool. Just go around it. So just by waiting, certain things can fix themselves. You know, people take responsibility. Maybe somebody knows something more about the black box system. And yeah, you're happy. Everybody's happy. If that doesn't help, you shouldn't rush. Me, I think, okay, I'm the CTO, I can take care of this, I'll make the perfect decision under pressure, all good. You make the worst decision possible. Like, you're the last person who should make a decision fast. Because even if you don't have your emotions in check, you don't have enough information. And the final Zen monk skill about black box systems is respecting them. So what happened to me was I didn't do that. So we fixed it kind of. The system was operating. And then at some point I thought, okay, life goes on, everything is fine. I tried to forget about this, could manage to sleep 8 hours per night after this. But at some point it broke again. Exactly when I thought it's not going to do it. So a black box system, while it exists, it will always bite you. It's still always there. There's two ways to finish this. Either you win or it wins. And the last approach is being a scientist. Yeah, you know, biologists, they always work with black box systems. I mean, animals are, like, nobody knows actually what goes on there. Like, it's composed of many different components. So let's be like biologists. This black box is a weird animal we need to understand. So basically, make scientific experiments, like try to switch on and off different things. If you can, of course, manage to start it again. Try to see what boundaries exist in those subsystems, like which APIs talk to each other, where is the database. In our case, it wasn't clear what ended where. Try to see the different feedback loops, right? I mean, if I touch something here, what happens there, you know? Because the big thing is like, okay, maybe we change some CSS and the database breaks, you know? So that's like... So this type of stuff, it's not a real example. That's too extreme. And then, yeah, try to measure the inputs-outputs shake. Like, you know, when the TV is broken, hit it, and maybe it turns on. Rarely happens, but it's an attempt. And then try to replicate the different parts, you know, to see if you end up at the end. Yeah, okay, so how did the story end? Yeah. We managed to save the day, but it was always a black box, always, until the very last minute it was there. And we managed to move to a new one, and then I slowly regained myself, and I don't think about it. So really my parting thoughts today, when people hear systems thinking, they roll their eyes, they think this is some kind of management consulting stuff, I don't want to listen to this. It's a real skill, you can learn it, and I can summarize it in 2 ways of thinking: becoming a Zen monk and be a scientist. And yes, from my side, if you have black boxes, I wish you happy unboxing.